Hello. It is Saturday, the 26th of February, and I'm continuing to learn and grow as we work in this process of preparing to leave a place that we've lived for the past 3 years and relocate down to the southern Arizona desert. The task of this week was painting the nook in the kitchen. It's my bit of giving back to the landlord who had the new flooring put in and had an old set of bench seats taken out. So I was in the task of kind of fulfilling a little bit of sacred reciprocity, that flow of today for me, tomorrow for you. Trying to look at, okay, how do I leave this place as a blessing to the next people who come and as a blessing to the landlord who has given us the use of this place for our support. So I was painting and began with the gratitude for the people who built it. Now, these were not professional builders. They added on in the way that made sense to them in the moment. And it has left this place with its own unique personality. And at times has led me to wonder what in the world they were thinking. But as I was thinking about it this time, it was, I don't have building skills. If I was going about trying to add a room or create a different space to make something available, I would just be doing the best I could. So the first level was kind of a generosity of spirit toward the people who have gone about the process of building this place through time, and that had it as it was when I walked into it. And I thought about the people who have looked after it all these years and was grateful to them. But as I was painting, I all of a sudden shifted from a sense of gratitude for the people to a gratitude for the structure. It's made of the same elements as my body. It's affected by the weather and time pretty much the same way my body is. It has experienced its own wounds, the attempts of some people to heal it in interesting ways, some very effective, others rather interesting. And it has withstood both long periods of being empty as family used it only for occasional getaways, and periods of coming into service for Bill and I for this past 3 years in an ongoing way. So a lot has been expected of it. It was a very humble little place, and it has come up as shelter and warmth, a place to cook and to eat and to sleep. And I began seeing that it was time for me to clear my relationship with this other living being that is this cabin. I needed to say, I'm sorry, I apologize for any harm that I've done to you through my thoughts, my words, my deeds, and my inactions. I apologize for the way in which I have neglected you at times, and at times have asked you to do more than you were ever really designed to do. And as I drew back all the ugly names I had called it and all of the frustrations I had sent toward it over time, I began to feel that clearing of that energy coming back through some grace and forgiveness and going back into the earth, and began seeing this place more and more clearly, more and more as a personality, as its own unique expression of elements and its own unique gift to teach me, to show me, to help me discover some things. So I began to look at, okay, thank you for the role that you've played in my life. Thank you for the way in which you now show me the way I treat things and therefore separate myself off from other expressions of this beautiful creation. It's been easy for me to think about bricks and mortar, wood and plastic, wiring, and all of the electrical things in a house as things. And yet here I am in the midst of this place being taught that there's life here. And there's one that deserves to be honored. So in this learning curve, I decided that I wanted to dry the paint in the nook. And so I brought in an extra space heater to run on that area to get the paint dried a little bit faster. And I popped the circuit breaker. Now, usually that's not a big deal. You know, you go out and you flip this breaker the other direction and everything's fine. But this is an old place and those breakers were old. And all of a sudden, for the first time, I realized everything that circuit had been carrying. It carried most of the things in the kitchen, fortunately not the oven and the stove, but most of the things in the kitchen, and a back room that had been added that now has a large refrigerator and a heater and a number of other things that were never part of the thought process. There's a microwave oven in the kitchen that was not there 50 years ago when these things were being brought together, or maybe it was 40 years ago or something when these additions were made. But what had happened was gradually people had just added things into these rooms, not thinking about what the place was designed to do. So blessings on our landlord, she called an electrician right away and he came out within a couple of days. And the conclusion is, no, we can't have all of this stuff on one circuit. And for now, the best thing to do is to run the cord of the refrigerator onto another circuit that can support it. Okay, so we do that. And I discover another living being who I've been neglecting, and that is this beautiful refrigerator that we bought a couple of years ago. Now, we have been calling it Moaning Myrtle because every time it runs, it kind of, and so we go, okay, well, maybe that's just part of its mechanism. That's how part of it goes. As soon as we plugged the refrigerator into the other circuit, she went quiet. She now purrs when she runs. And I look at her and I'm going, I'm so sorry. You were trying all this time to tell me that you could not get enough energy to function in the way I wanted you to. And I just didn't listen because you're a thing. So I've been developing relationships with things that are actually part of what support my life, part of what is in relationship with me. And I think about how complex it is to be a human structure, a structure that supports human beings. Because we want what we want when we want it. And we tend to just expect these things, these structures around us to be whatever we want them to be, whenever. So things are shifting in that relationship. There have been times I've thought about this old cabin and thought, you know, I think you probably would just as soon just fall down and give up. Other times I've wanted it to thrive on just a tiny bit of TLC. And now I realize here is this living being that has stood here in the cold of Mount Shasta winters and in the bright sun of the summertime, and has been faithful and supportive. And I want to keep on doing things for it that support its life. And I'm also grateful to myself because there are things that I've been doing that I think have been a blessing. Into these walls have gone the vibration of my chanting and of my drumming. The energies that Bill and I draw through as we do Qigong have flowed through this whole place, through every wall, through every bit of this structure. our laughter, our tears, lots of good romantic comedies, and some great conversations. All sorts of things have moved through these walls while we've been here. I hope to leave this place as a blessing to the next person who will live here. And I hope that what I've learned through the role this cabin has played in my life is a deep appreciation for the next home that I go to. I want to walk in that next door and introduce myself as a partner, as one entering into a new friendship, as one who is going to see how I can care for it on an ongoing basis in the same way that it cares for me, that can be in an honoring relationship of sacred reciprocity with the land that it's on and the structures and everything else that goes into that setting. I want to think about what I carry into those walls, what energies I bring there, what blessings. It's been an interesting time of learning this week. Thanks for letting me share it with you. I don't know when I'll post again, but hopefully soon. Thanks.